All right, we're going to talk about drawing from imagination. So first of all, think about this. If you had a drawing done by a 5-year-old of a muscular man, as well as a photograph of a muscular man, and you were tasked to draw a muscular man, which reference would you choose if you got to choose one? If you're not a dumbass, you would choose the one of the photograph. But the problem is that when you're drawing from your imagination, you're drawing with a reference done by basically a 5-year-old. And what I mean is your mental reference is very undetailed, poor, and inaccurate. For example, with me, I'm great at drawing muscular men. When I draw a muscular man from imagination, the reason I'm able to do that so well and you're not is because in my mind, I see all the details as if I'm looking at a high quality reference photo. Like if never ever spend any time practicing drawing hands, well, you obviously don't do a good job drawing hands because it's like hard to imagine all the different all the different poses and things of it. Like the reason hands are known for being hard to draw, it's because they're so complicated. You have 4 different fingers that have kind of like unique shapes. You have the thumb as well, which is a whole nother shape. It has all these different joints that can go in all these different ways. Of course it's hard to draw because it's basically impossible to imagine properly. But with something like what's really simple, like a cube. Like 5th graders can draw cubes really well because it's so straightforward. You can imagine a cube in like any angle super easily. So when you try to draw a cube from imagination, it's really not that difficult. So basically, drawing from imagination is still drawing from a reference, but the reference is in your mind. So the goal when trying to get good at drawing from imagination is to make your mental reference good. Because you know, when you draw from a reference, it's better. And if you tried to draw from a 5-year-old's drawing for reference, it would suck. So stop drawing from that dumb reference in your head and make it match the photograph or the really good drawing, or just make it awesome, right? So there are 3 different levels that you need to really understand. I'm kind of going to re-explain this. There's reference, you know what that is. You look at the photo and you try to draw it. There's memory. You just saw the photo and you try to draw that, but you don't get to keep looking at it. And then there's imagination, which is an internalized understanding. So not only is there like a picture in your head, you also kind of understand the picture. Like you don't only like kind of see what like a deltoid, the shoulder muscle, looks like, you also understand the deltoid. You're like, okay, it has 3 heads. From this view, you would see the front head and the side head, and they will connect to the arm in this way. You'll understand it as well. Another like misconception we need to go over is that imagination is not creativity. Being creative is like combining ideas in new ways, or like making something new. So if you are creative, you might come up with something like a dragon that has 5 human heads. I know that's not actually creative, but you get my point. But could you draw that? A dragon with 5 human heads? Probably not, because you don't know what the anatomy of a dragon looks like. Like when you imagine a dragon, you kind of see the basic picture, but could you like mentally trace it? Like imagine the picture of the dragon with 5 human heads in your mind. And then I want you to think about the dragon's like muscle anatomy. I want you to go in your head and try to trace it. Unless you draw dragons a lot, you will fail to make a good anatomy. However, if you're constantly looking at reference images of dragons and stuff like that, well then you'll know the anatomy better and therefore you can draw it better. Drawing from imagination is not about creativity. It's about drawing from a reference in your head and being able to see that reference clearly. So here's how you can do this. First of all, it's not about copying the reference, because that's kind of like passive and mindless. When you look at a reference and you try to draw it and you're just copying it, it's like you're not really learning anything. It's like, oh, this is here, I'll try to put it here. Like, you're not focusing. So what you want to do is kind of train your memory, because when you're improving your mental image, you're basically remembering real images in a sense. So what you want to do is try to look at the reference and analyze it, think about it. How does the deltoid connect to the pecs, and how does that interact with the collarbone and with the trapezius muscle and all that? Study it, then get the reference away and draw it. Do your best to draw it. And then you're like, oh shoot, I can't figure out this part. And now your brain has a reason to try to remember this part. You're like, oh, I can't figure out how to draw the serratus muscle here. It's so weird. And then you know what you do? You get your reference back and you look at how the serratus works. And now, because you had a reason to figure out the serratus, you'll remember the serratus, which is a muscle if you didn't know that somehow. But anyway, here's like the best method. Like, that's part of it. But I call it the SPTR method. It's study, practice, test, repeat. So basically the part I just explained to you was the test part. So study is analyzing it, learning the theory. Like, you'll think about, well, how do muscles work? It's like they have a stretched position and a contracted position. Like, your pecs will be flexed when your biceps are close together, and they'll be stretched when your biceps are way back here, right? And you'll be studying what is the shape of the pecs and all that. And then you're going to practice it with the reference. You're going to look at the reference and you're going to draw it the best you can. Now, you've drawn the pecs or whatever it is you're trying to learn from reference several times. And now you're going to test yourself on it. Now you're not a slave to the reference. So instead of just the pecs, because that's just one muscle, we'll just say like torsos. Like, you got the neck, the traps, shoulders, chest, core, and pelvis, like all that together, right? You've drawn that several times from reference. Now it's time to test yourself. SPTR. Study, practice, test, repeat. Test is the part I already explained. You do it without the reference. And then when you forget something, you're like, shoot, I can't remember how the obliques attach to the abs or something like that. Then you just look at the reference again. And you then have a reason in your brain. Your brain sees a reason to remember, and it will store that forever. So now you will always be able to draw the abs connecting to the obliques from imagination. And then repeat. I think that's what it was, right? Yeah, repeat. Do it again. Study it again. Practice with reference again. Test yourself again and repeat. And doing this process over and over, like we're talking about anatomy, you'll have a very concrete, solid, good understanding of anatomy, and you'll be able to draw like shredded muscles like this from anatomy whenever you want. Now, that was from reference, but still, you get my point. I drew, let me see if I can find it. What? Yeah, like this is just me playing around. Like, here's just a random page I tore out of my sketchbook. See, I can draw a pretty awesome anatomy. Just from imagination. So, here's the next important thing. You need to build a visual library. So that's basically what we just did across a bunch of things, right? A visual library is like a reference library. Like if you have like a Pinterest board or something like that, or saved images on Instagram, or like downloaded images, whatever. It's like a reference library, but in your mind that's detailed. To add an image to your visual or mental library, you basically need to do that method. But then you need to do it again and again for different things. Like, for example, if you want to draw like really shredded superheroes, sort of like this from all angles, it's like, okay, you need to know what it looks like from the front angle, but you also need to know what it looks like when it's running or swinging on a rope, or what else, like squatting, or like whatever, kneeling down, punching someone, anything at all. You need to know what those look like. So just have a mental reference for all of those. So it's like you practice drawing a figure like this, punching if you want to do that, and then you test yourself on that, and then you repeat. Now, another note I should make is that when you repeat with feedback as well. Like, for example, you can go on like a Discord community or something like that, and you can ask, okay, hey guys, what do you think about this? What problems do you see in here? Now, obviously, do it yourself as well. You can give yourself great advice. Like, understand that you can give yourself great advice. One of the greatest things is to ask yourself, what advice would I give myself? This can go for anything. Like, just forget who you are or anything like that. Like, you're not you anymore. Just ask yourself, what advice would I give myself? This is like a side point. Like, you can apply this to your image. It's like, okay, yeah, this needs to be longer, and you need to stop making your shoulders go so low. They're not that low, and stuff like that. But then also just in real life, it's like, why do I keep on skipping out on this art practice I need to do? Just like, what advice would you give yourself? Because, I mean, most of the time, you know the answer to your problems. It's just like a matter of you feel stuck, but you don't need to, right? One of the things I like to say for this visual library analogy is the more visual deposits you make, the more artistic credit you can spend. Like, if you never add things to it, you can't really spend anything. You can't draw from imagination. But when you're constantly adding things to it, using this SPTR method, you can use all this artistic credit to draw all these things. You imagine this cool image in your mind. Oh, we have the light coming from here, and it's like a spotlight with a silhouette of this. And then we have this guy in this pose doing this cool thing. It's like, well, now, because you actually understand what those things look like, you can draw that from imagination because you went from this process. You need to do this for everything you want to draw. Like, if you don't care at all about drawing landscapes, it's just like, that's not going to be part of it at all, then don't spend any time drawing landscapes. So it's like, if you need to draw something like hands, which you probably do knowing that you're watching one of my videos, it's like, then you need to practice drawing hands, because when you draw or imagine something that includes hands, you're going to need to be able to draw that, right? So think of it this way. Drawing from imagination is the result of obsessive reference study. By obsessing over the references, it's like, what do these muscles look like? What do clothing folds look like? Testing yourself on it over and over again. You can draw that from imagination because you obsessed on the reference. You'll be able to draw things like this soon enough when you do the SPTR method. Now, here's a reason you may quit. Maybe you hear this video, you're getting all hyped up, like, oh yeah, this method makes so much sense. I should be doing it. And then you do it once. And then you try to draw from imagination, and it sucks. Well, yeah, because you haven't put in enough reps. Would you expect yourself to be able to bench press 250 pounds after one workout? Of course not. Don't give up on this. You need to just do the reps over and over again. If this is your goal, which if you're watching this channel, it is, then you need to make a plan for this. You need to set up some kind of accountability system. I'll go in this in other videos, so if you want to see that, subscribe. But make sure you follow the method. Last thing, I'm making a course right now. If you click the link in the description, you'll be able to get access to the program for half off. It's a pre-sale, so there's nothing in it right now. But soon enough, I'll have something in there. I'll probably have it for $47 now or $49. It's going to be $99 when it's fully released. Check the link in the description. You'll get so much better at drawing. I'm going to put in so many things and tactics and advices. I hope I see you there. Goodbye.